3 AI companies just released browsers, not plugins, not extensions, browsers. And I switched my entire business workflow to one of them for 30 days. Here's the honest breakdown: what worked, what broke, what cost me money, and made me money. Stay with me. Welcome back to Venture Void. If you are here, you're a solo founder or a small operator who doesn't have time for tools that sound impressive, but don't actually move the needle. Today we're going deep on 3 AI native browsers that launched within weeks of each other: ChatGPT's Atlas, Perplexity's Comet, and a startup called Dia. These are not AI assistants bolted onto Chrome. These are browsers rebuilt from the ground up with AI baked into every layer. That distinction matters enormously, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly which one belongs in your workflow and which ones are expensive distractions. Let's start with the actual problem these tools are supposed to solve, because if you don't feel this pain, none of what follows will land. The average knowledge worker switches between apps 1,200 times per day. That number comes from a catalog study, and it tracks for anyone running a lean operation solo. You're in Notion, writing a SOB, you need to check a competitor's pricing. You jump to Chrome, you open 4 tabs, you get distracted by a Reddit thread. You come back, you've lost your context, and you've also lost about 23 minutes. That's the Microsoft research figure, 23 minutes to fully regain deep focus after an interruption. Multiply that by 10. Context switches a day and you're losing 3 to 4 hours of actual cognitive output. For a solo founder billing at even $75 an hour, that's $225 to $300 in lost productive value every single day. Monthly, that's close to $6,000 evaporating into tab chaos. Traditional AI tools don't fix this. They add another tab to the problem. You copy text from your browser, paste it into ChatGPT, get an answer, copy that back. That's not intelligence augmentation. That's a more expensive clipboard. These 3 browsers are attempting to collapse that gap entirely. Let me walk you through each one specifically. Atlas is OpenAI's play. It runs on a Chromium base, so your existing extensions mostly carry over, which matters if you're running uBlock, LastPass, or anything in your current stack. The core differentiator is that GPT-4o is watching your browsing session contextually in real time, not recording it, not uploading it to a server, processing it locally in a sidebar model. What this means practically: you land on a competitor's pricing page, and without opening a new tab or copying anything, you can ask, how does this compare to my pricing doc in Drive? And Atlas pulls both contexts simultaneously and gives you a side-by-side gap analysis. I tested this with a SaaS competitor research task that normally takes me 45 minutes across 6 tabs. Atlas compressed that to 11 minutes. That's a real number from a real task. The pricing at launch is $29 per month on top of your existing ChatGPT Plus subscription, so you're looking at $49 total monthly if you're already paying for Plus. That's a meaningful line item for a solo operator, so it had better earn its keep every single week. Perplexity's Comet is built on a completely different philosophy. Where Atlas keeps AI as a contextual assistant, Comet is trying to become your operating system for the web. The key feature is what they call agentic threads. You set up a research task, let's say you want to monitor 5 competitor blogs for any pricing changes, new feature announcements, or funding news, and Comet runs that as a background thread autonomously. It checks those sources on a schedule you define, synthesizes what's changed since your last session, and surfaces a briefing when you open the browser. For a founder doing competitive intelligence, content strategy, or investor research, this is legitimately powerful. I set up a thread monitoring 3 newsletters in my niche, plus 2 competitor websites, and every morning I got a 200-word synthesis of what was new and why it mattered to my positioning. That replaced about an hour of manual reading and summarizing I was doing with a combination of Feedly and ChatGPT. Comet is priced at $20 per month currently in early access, which makes it the most accessible entry point of the 3. The catch on Comet, and we'll come back to this in detail, is that the agentic features are still rough. 2 of my 5 monitoring threads failed silently during week 2, meaning they just stopped updating and gave me no alert. I made a business decision based on stale data before I caught it. Dia is the dark horse. It's from the browser company, the same team that made Arc, which, if you're not familiar, was the last browser that actually made people emotional about browser design. Arc had a cult following for a reason. It rethought tabs, spaces, and sidebar architecture in ways Chrome users didn't know they wanted. It takes that design sensibility and layers on an AI model that isn't GPT, isn't Claude, isn't Gemini. It's a proprietary lightweight model tuned specifically for browsing tasks. The result feels different. Where Atlas feels like a brilliant assistant sitting next to you, and Comet feels like a research department running in the background, Dia feels like the browser itself is thinking. When you hover on a form field, it suggests what to fill in based on your past behavior. When you open a new tab with intent, meaning you type something in your last tab before opening it, Dia preloads suggested resources before you finish typing your search. It also has the best tab management of the three by a significant margin, carrying over Arc's spaces, concept, and making it genuinely usable for someone juggling client work, personal research, and content creation in parallel. Dia is free in beta, with a paid tier expected around $15 to $20 per month at full launch. For pure daily driver productivity, I found myself reaching for Dia, most often during week 3 and 4. Now here's what it collectively replaces for a lean operation. If you are currently paying for a research VA, any part of their work that involves monitoring, summarizing, or synthesizing web content is now automatable with Comet for $20 a month. A part-time research assistant at even $15 an hour doing 10 hours a week is $600 a month. That's a $580 monthly arbitrage. If you're using a tool like Magical or TextBlaze for form automation and web shortcuts, Dia replaces both of those natively. If you're running competitive research workflows in Notion with manual copy-paste from the web, Atlas eliminates that entire pipeline. Now the catch, and I will not soften this, all three browsers are data hungry in ways that should give you pause before you route client work through them. Atlas's privacy policy, as of its current version, allows OpenAI to use browsing context to improve its models unless you explicitly opt out in settings, and the opt-out is not visible on the main settings page. You have to go into privacy controls under the advanced tab. I found this in week 1 and I'm glad I did, because I was doing client research sessions before I caught it. Comet had the silent failure issue I mentioned, which in a business context isn't a minor bug, it's a liability. If you're making decisions based on competitive intelligence and your monitoring thread died 3 days ago, you don't have intelligence, you have false confidence. Dia is in beta, full stop. Beta means the proprietary model makes confident errors. During my test period, it auto-filled a contact form with the wrong company name pulled from a previous session. Not a catastrophic failure, but a reminder that you cannot treat beta AI as production infrastructure. My honest recommendation, after 30 days, use Dia as your default browser immediately. It's free, and the design quality alone justifies the switch from Chrome. Layer in Comet's monitoring threads for any competitive or market research workflow where you're currently doing manual reading, but audit those threads every 48 hours until they prove reliable. Hold on Atlas unless you're already deep in the OpenAI ecosystem, and the $29 premium is easy to justify. It's the most polished of the three, but it's also the most expensive, and the privacy default is the one that would actually cost you client trust if you're not careful. The businesses that compound the fastest right now are the ones adopting infrastructure before their competitors realize it exists. These browsers are infrastructure, not novelties. The window where you get an asymmetric advantage from learning them before your market catches on is probably 6 to 9 months. After that, they're just table stakes. If this kind of deep operational breakdown is useful to you, subscribe to Venture Void. We don't cover tools because they're trending. We cover them because they change what's possible at the solo operator level. Hit the bell if you want these the day they drop. See you in the next one.